Everybody, it's Bo Babka. It's Becky from Utah, so we can see that. Bo Babka from the Daily Bend. We're here with Lindsey in West Jordan in his beautiful backyard, and I really wanted to thank Lindsey for having me here. Again, this is the Daily Bend, where we talk to people, all kinds of people, regular folks with regular challenges, some extreme challenges, things that might happen, and they might be an inspiration to you. And I don't think Lindsey will be selling us short at all. I think he's got quite the story. Want to thank Aaron yesterday for the ultimate treasure hunt and all the things that they're doing. I think that's a great event. And so, without further ado, we'll get moving because well, the weather actually is really nice out here. So, Lindsey, thanks for being with me. We are live. We're coming to you from West Jordan, Utah, the United States, for those that are watching somewhere else. I appreciate you contacting me because you may have seen a few of the things, or you might have a friend that may have come on. Tell us a little bit about tell us about what your challenges are and how that occurred and all that kind of stuff.
My story, it actually begins back in November of 13.
Okay.
I was actually super healthy, eating right, exercising, playing racquetball a couple times a week,
right, working
out, I'm in the gym,
right,
in really good shape, and just out of the blue I got a cough that was hanging on and it wouldn't go away. And after about, I don't know, 2 weeks, I finally decided it was time to go in the hospital and something. So me and my wife went over to the Instacare, and the night before I told her that if I went to sleep I didn't think I'd wake up, and it was something I'd never felt before, and I was having just a tough time breathing. So we go to the Instacare, they say, now
if I look at that and look at my watch, I'm just making sure, so don't feel uncomfortable.
Okay.
Hopefully everybody can hear.
And at the when I went to the hospital, they said, the doctor, they said, you better go to the hospital. So I went to the hospital, and overnight, they said, you don't have the flu, you don't have pneumonia. But the next day, when I woke up, I called my wife to find out when she could come get me. And she's like, as soon as they release you. And I said, okay, but right then, they told me we're taking you to ICU.
So you're ready to go, and then they say, nope, you're going to ICU.
And my wife says, why ICU? And I'm like, I have no idea, I don't know nothing.
Right.
Then the next thing is about 10 minutes later, they called her and told her, if you ever want to see him again, you need to hurry. We just put him on a life support machine. He's now on a ventilator.
Okay.
Okay, this is just in 10 minutes.
So this is the Daily Bend, and we're talking to Lindsey, and we're talking about what happened to him back in 2013. He has a cough. He goes to the hospital. He's going to get released, but then his wife's told, you need to go see him. He can't leave. He's going to ICU, and then go from there.
So then I end up, and I don't remember much, I ended up on a life support system.
Just like that.
Just I don't even know what happened. And it turned into what they called ARDS, acute respiratory distress syndrome.
Okay.
And a very, very small percentage of people that get it even survive it.
Well, I looked it up. I did a little bit of research, and when you look up, it's ARDS, and they call it wet lung as well, or they call it kind of a derivative.
Yeah.
And they said that less than 200,000 cases in the country every year, or something like that.
Yeah.
And they did say that the life expectancy of someone with it is next to nothing.
Yeah, and especially if you're in a coma for 3 weeks.
So what is it? What is it exactly? What does it do to the body?
Within minutes, it's either, they don't know whether it's really a virus or what it is, but it attacks your lungs.
Okay.
And it scarred 95% of my lungs. And they don't know why it quit at 90. If it gone to 100, you're done.
Right.
But they don't even know why it quit at 95.
Right.
So then I go right from that into this coma, and it's December 1st.
Is that part of what happens? Or is that the body saying we need to go into a coma?
Your body just shuts down.
Wow. Okay. All right.
And then once your body shuts down, and then with your heart rate and everything else going crazy, they would induce the coma from time to time and pull it back out. But my stats were always, I don't remember any of it going crazy. But
if you can't breathe, your heart's pumping like nothing. No, I mean, your heart's probably pumping like in fib because there's no air getting to it, I'm sure.
And so they put you on a ventilator.
Wow.
So you're on a machine in a coma. And then it's just incredible the things that happen, because once I'm even in that, too much water is filling up in my lungs.
Right.
And they put me on what's called a prone bed. And a prone bed just moves this way, that way, this way. But you're like in a rocket ship costume almost, and it's all big, and it's tilting every way. And once you get into the coma, even your kidneys and stuff shut down. So my body like totally swelled off.
So this happened in a matter of a day.
And so then I end up on dialysis in the hospital, and then oxygen levels in your body. You know, if you get, they want you to be around 88 anyway on your oxygen.
Right.
But once you get into the 50s, 60s, 20s, and I had times where for like hours and hours and hours I was in the 20s, 30s, and they would do everything they could do to raise it. Sometimes they could get it up, sometimes they couldn't do anything, but that's even with a ventilator pumping and on oxygen turned to the max that it could. And this was at Jordan Valley Hospital, and then after 3 weeks of that, they decided they had to send me up to Promise Hospital, which really only takes really super, super intense. You've got to be...
What's the hospital called?
Promise Hospital.
Promise, where is that?
It's connected to a wing of LDS.
Oh, LDS,
hospital.
That's right, okay.
And
all right.
You've got to be in really bad shape to go into
So
Promise
that's where they start doing the,
I mean,
you know, or giving you a blessing.
And even from the time I got in there, the first thing they're asking my wife is like, how long do you want to keep feeding him? And she's like, I didn't bring him up here to die. I don't want you to don't ever talk about this in this room again.
Right.
And she got on the nurses and people about, don't talk about that. He'll know what, you know, it could affect, oh no, he doesn't know what's going on. But she was really supportive that way. And she had actually just started a new job but months before. And so she didn't even get to go into work when I was at Jordan Valley because it was close. And her work was uptown, but once they sent me up to Promise, she started to go in and was going to work, and then she'd be there in the morning and at night. But all the time after about 3 weeks, and that's about as long as most people can stay in the coma, and they start telling you there's no chance.
Right.
And they would be asking her when she's going to pull the plug.
So 3 weeks at Pioneer, and then up to Promise, and you're still...
So now we're going about the 23rd of December.
So your total coma time was 3 months,
Well, no, then I'm still in the coma there, and then even on on Christmas Eve, they had some problems with my lungs, even when I'm on the machine, and they had to go in and do some stuff with it. And during that procedure, they called my wife and said, you better have somebody come up there. So she called her sister to come up, and her sister comes up to the hospital, and while they're in there, the doctors are, she says, it's just like a machine. This doctor saying this, doing this, and all like 8 or 9 different, and the respiratory therapists are just doing everything they can do. And after I flatlined and everything for quite a bit, they're just like, you know, and somehow this doctor just didn't give up.
So you died. You're
you're
dead.
Totally flatlined.
You're dead. The wife is, you know,
they asked her to leave, her and the sister to leave the room.
But you had a doctor. You had a doctor that kept going.
Just an incredible doctor.
How long did he go for? Did he say? I mean, was it?
I've heard that it was 9 minutes.
9 minutes? Well, because I know as you get older.
And that's a long time.
Yeah, as you get older, the younger you are, the longer they can go to try and resuscitate. But even with, you know, age or whatever else, that's pretty crazy. So you're watching the Daily Bend, and we're talking to Lindsey, and he in relatively in days, he's in a hospital in a coma. It's called ARDS, ARDS. It's a respiratory viral thing that hits you like, you know, nothing else. We were just talking about how he died. He flatlined for 9 minutes, and then if it wasn't for this doctor that just kept trying, he wouldn't be here right now.
And nurses and everybody just continued. I mean, they did totally did their job that day, but then all along then, they're still telling my wife, he's most likely, you know, it could be a vegetable. We don't know what will
Right.
happen. It's,
Because you were still in the coma.
yeah,
And you had been in the coma at that point for how long? 3 weeks?
about 3 weeks.
About 3 weeks, okay.
And somewhere around about the middle of April is when I finally come out of the coma.
April.
we're
Okay,
talking-
so how long is that? Now it's
4.5 months.
4.5 months. Okay, all right.
And
Wow.
once you go through all this, you lose any muscle at all that you
Right.
have completely. So even when you wake up, you've got a trait going in, and you have no idea.
So what did
You
the
can't
wife? What did
talk.
the wife think? I mean, the wife had to be going. Well, should I? Should I not? I mean, I don't want to, but maybe there's a chance he's going to come out of it. You know, I mean, that had to be. I mean, just
really,
you're the one that's going through it, but for her, that's got to be amazing.
And really, that's why I really wanted to talk with you. 'Cause
What kept her in the game? I mean, what kept her in? I mean, did she have some? Obviously, we talk about faith and courage and endurance on these programs, but she had to have some kind of.
I think it's important that people just listen to 100% their own heart.
Okay.
Listen to the doctors, listen to the feelings, listen. She asked all of my friends what she should do.
Right.
And they would just say, it's entirely up to you. I can't tell you what to do, but listen to your heart. And she just said she wouldn't feel comfortable pulling the plug because no matter what, she just felt that there was still something, that when they would shine the light, even in the coma, she felt like there was still something, and they wouldn't say there was nothing ever,
Right.
but they would say there's not much of a chance here that if he even gets out of this, that he's not going to be brain dead.
And all the friends are going, well,
And
you know,
they're
we
all-
don't want him to wake up and not be,
Yeah.
you know, his regular self or whatever else there might be.
And they're just all saying, do what you know, it's all up to you, but we're not going to tell you what to do.
Right.
And I mean, if you actually, think about that, going to the hospital and seeing the same person laying there
Right.
day after day after day for
Yeah.
months.
Yeah.
And that's what this is about, though, is I want other people that know people in that situation, don't just 100% listen to the doctors, but know what you want, know what you think that person's capable of, and just don't give up. And the whole thing is about not giving up.
So hopefully everybody can hear, because I know we've had a lot of stuff in the background, but Lindsey's really point, and the reason he's on today is that, you know, his wife really didn't give up on him. Obviously, he didn't give up on himself. Probably didn't feel like he had much control at all, but really not giving up. I mean, you'd been in coma for 4 months. Sometimes people will, they'll pull the plug after a certain amount of time.
A couple
you know,
weeks,
a couple
3
weeks
weeks,
or a
yeah.
month. It's, you know, it's time. But so the story behind the story really is your wife and the ability for her to have that faith, that knowing that, you know, something's going to happen. You're not dead yet. You're not. Something could happen, and we're gonna wait and see what happens.
And then I want other people to also understand that the doctors know a lot, but still people do your own research.
Right.
My wife would, once after the first month was gone, where she wasn't at the hospital all the time, she'd go to work, which was uptown, and so she'd come into the hospital for an hour before work in the morning, and she'd go to work till 5. She'd come back out at home, or come up to the hospital after 5,
Right.
be there till 10 or 11 at night, then she'd come home and take care of the dogs and stuff. But she would always do research on the internet about any medication they were giving me, about anything she didn't understand. And there's a number of times that she corrected them with medications.
Wow.
And said, no, this is a derivative of this, and he's allergic to it. You can't, that's what's causing this. You can't do this. And
So she went to medical school really quick.
and she learned all the stuff that you need to do.
So this is the Daily Band. We have to do that every once in a while. Make sure people that are coming in late know what's going on. Tomorrow I call BEAU'D Friday, and that's where we wear superhero shirts, because we're all superheroes. It certainly sounds not only like you, but your wife. Your wife was definitely a superhero when it comes to learning everything there was to know about what was going on with you.
Everything.
And she made decisions for the doctors.
She-
She made decisions for the doctors. No, you can't give that.
Yeah.
You're going to give that.
Yeah, and
That is
And she
awesome.
would even call him after she'd come home and be on the computer for a couple of hours at night.
Right.
She'd call him and tell him, get him off of that now. And then she'd go in the next morning. They'd say, well, the next nurse would say, well, we decided to take him off this, and he's doing much better. And they wouldn't give her credit for any of it. They just decided to do it.
So she earned her medical degree through the School of Hard Knocks. Okay, so You came out of this.
So now you
came out of this.
You wake up. You can't move. You can move your eyes. You can't turn your head. You have no muscle. You can't raise an arm. You can't do nothing. And after a week or two of this, you start thinking, I'm a business guy, okay? So you start thinking these guys are just doing this to make money on me. I'm not getting better. And you have those.
They're going to keep me.
You have those thoughts
paralyzed till I can.
You have those thoughts going through your
till
mind.
Till it's $1 million. By golly, you got to pay.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
we're well over that. And they keep doing that, and you're wondering. But then slowly, there's little things. But then they also, you got to worry about insurance in this day and age.
Right.
And so then I'm only about a month away, and the insurance is deciding, well, we got to get you to a critical care facility. I can't even begin to even think about standing up. I can't move
You're just laying there.
I'm barely able to start moving my arms. They would bring me like water, and what was incredible was they would bring me like a Dixie cup, but they would set it on your table over here.
Right.
And I couldn't lift my hand up to the table to pick the Dixie cup up to get water out of it. Then I finally got to where I could do that, but I wasn't strong enough to hold a Dixie cup.
A Dixie cup.
Okay, we're talking just for the water. And
to
go through all of those in your mind.
Right.
But also, if I go back even just a little bit, I had cancer back in the late 80s, and I was given a couple of weeks to live with that. So I learned how to overcome.
So you're like this walking warrior.
And I've overcome that. And then,
so you had cancer back in the, what'd you say, the 90s?
Late 80s.
The late 80s?
Yeah, and then it came back a few times. But
okay.
I've done an operation. I've done the chemo, the radiation.
Right.
I've got all the dots from the radiation.
Okay, so
I beat that, and then even after I beat that, I was on the freeway one day in a Jeep that I didn't have the door on, and a car swerved in front of me and I was going 75, and I put my leg out like you would hold a motorcycle up, and I went 475 feet down the freeway and took everything off my leg, and they said the leg would never heal and I'd never walk. And I was deer hunting on crutches. This was in June, and I was deer hunting on crutches in October. So I've had a lot of things that I've overcome. So once I'm coming out of this Coleman and having to overcome this, my mind's just really intense to decide this is what I've got to do. And I go out to a place called Country Life from Promise. It's a rest home type deal where they have the nursing, and I'm still on it. They take a ventilator out there because I could go off it for a couple of hours to get out there, but then I have to sleep with it. So they even have the ventilator out there, and I'm really not. I mean, I can't stand up. I can't stand up to poop. I can't. Do nothing. I'm still using the urinals, and that's after leaving the hospital and after a month at this retirement deal, the health center. Things still aren't getting much better, and that insurance only lasted 60 days. But even when I came home, I actually had a friend of mine that literally had to pick me up and put me in the car. When we got home, he had to literally pick me up and sit me in a wheelchair, wheel me up to the bed, and physically pick me up and off the chair. I couldn't even stand up when I came home. And when you really start learning that you need to stand up for yourself or do for yourself, is about the time you've had the nurses and stuff take care of you, wiping your butt and stuff in the hospital. But about the time your wife has to do it a couple times after everything she's gone to, somehow there's that much more determination.
There's a little bit of motivation in someone wiping your butt.
You just don't want that to be
someone else wiping your butt. Yeah.
And I started recovering it probably 10 times as fast.
Really?
As soon as I got home.
So you thought it was that little click in your brain?
I had a home health care nurse that had to come to help me even bathe and shower and stuff. But one day I'm like, and this is like only 3 or 4 days, and I literally can't stand up.
Right.
And I'm like, I gotta use that. I gotta go do that. I gotta not use this anymore.
Right.
And it was just, and I had to do it. And I just know if we all decide what we have to do, we can do it. And really, I want people to just understand that more than anything.
That if they really put their mind to something and they really have determination, they can do it.
And I've helped people with cancer over the years and stuff, and I've seen people that have small amounts of cancer that have died that there's no reason they should die. And I've seen people that have had humongous, and they've had days to live, and they're still alive now years and years later.
Right.
But a lot of it is what we all do with our mind, how we decide to control it, and faith. And it doesn't hurt to pray a little bit and have a little bit of faith in God. but a lot with your own mind.
Right.
And that's what I really just want people to understand. And so then I've actually gotten what becomes even more interesting, and my whole story has a lot to do with listening to the doctors. So when I get out of the country life, I have to go to a pulmonologist and respiratory therapist, and they're saying the best thing that we can do, and the only hope for you is to get you on a lung transplant list. So I talk with them, and I go home and I start Googling some of the stuff about lung transplants and stuff, and there's really not that good of an outcome once you're on once you get a new lung anyway.
Really?
It's not a long life, and there's not very history of people living very long once they get them. And so I got rid of those two doctors.
So you've decided not to get a new lung.
I quit going to those doctors, and people
Right.
need to be able to understand they have the right to do that.
Right.
So then I Googled and found the doctor out of everywhere in the U.S. that I thought that had the most experience with ARDS. I went through probably about 2 months of spending 3 or 4 hours every day looking for the right doctor. I found the right doctor, and she's had a lot of success with ARDS patients, and actually the only person I can find that's had success with it. And she's saying you'd be able to do things.
Interesting.
And the first couple of ones that said I had to get it on the lung transplant list said I would never be able to even do like I'm doing now. So
Right.
here, I've got the oxygen machine here just in case I need it.
I don't know if you can see that right there. This is the Daily Bend. We're talking to Lindsey. Lindsey is an inspiration. I hope you'll go back and watch this whole show, because the things that he's been through, his wife's been through, and some of the messages that he's given us, I won't even try and regurgitate that in its way. Coming from him, it's amazing. He's talking now about the lasting disease that he's had. He's had cancer, but he's also, and it's come back a couple times, but this ARDS, this ARDS, he's talking about how he went through, and everybody was saying, I need a lung transplant, or the doctors were saying. Then he found a doctor, and that's where we kind of stopped, was you found a doctor that, a different type of treatment for this, or?
She just decided to get me more into even what they call pulmonary therapy.
Okay.
To where I'm walking with a machine, at the hospital with an oxygen machine on. And
so you're exercising?
I can walk. I do like 15 minutes.
Isn't that interesting? So you're actually using your lungs and hoping that some of that will, the body will suck in some of the bad stuff and regenerate as you exercise.
And it is.
Isn't that interesting? I mean, that goes to show you, when I'm always preaching and everybody else is preaching, there is benefits to moderate, even if it's moderate exercise.
Well, I'm even doing, I'm up to where I'm doing weights and stuff.
Right.
I went to dinner a couple of nights ago with a partner of mine, and he just couldn't believe the amount of weights that I'm able to even do, which I was down to, even when you go in the coma, through all the medications and through not nourishing your body,
right.
I lost all my hair. I had a full head of hair before.
Right.
Then I wake up after I didn't ever see myself in a mirror at Promise Hospital. I go out to country life, and after about a month there, I finally see myself, and I'm just totally, like maybe 8-9 strands. So I've decided to hell with it.
This guy's got a full head of hair.
I've just decided,
and then some.
I've always been clean cut and everything, but I've just decided to let it go.
Right. Who cares?
Just as a statement, but it also, I don't know, I've read a lot of stuff about how you pick up more sensitivity and more awareness by having more hair, and it's the thing that the engines believe and everything, but and I've really noticed that I'm more aware of a lot of things. My wife just can't believe, like, out of the blue, some of the decisions and stuff that come up.
Right.
But it's an incredible experience, but I just want people to know, every day I still have pains from feet, like when I was on the prone bed, my feet swung and sweat dug deep into my feet. They weren't worried about all the sores and stuff because you don't make it anyway. I've got bed sores. I've got a lot.
He's got sores. He's got infections. He's not going to make it anyway.
And I still have a lot of daily pain and lots of stuff. But even when I have the worst pain, it's still like I'm still this, okay?
Sure.
And I have a different attitude about versus what I was, and I know where I could be.
Right.
And I'm just
Well,
I'm just so
Yeah,
thankful.
you could be buried in this beautiful yard out here. is what you-
I'm just thankful for everything, and people
Right.
just need to give gratitude and just know what they can do.
Right, know what they can do themselves by fighting and going through that struggle, that
Yeah.
adversity. So you don't sit around. I mean, I came through, and you're still working. You're working even more probably now. I mean, everything before you just didn't give up and say, I'm gonna convalesce the rest of my life, right?
No, I'm actually a real estate broker,
Okay.
an associate broker, and I've been a licensed real estate agent since 1980.
Wow. Okay. So
But I've also done a lot of other things with buying and selling companies. And after I got out of the hospital, I'm not able to go out and do much real estate for at least for a while, but I
Right.
couldn't just sit and do nothing.
right.
So I actually had a buddy of mine help create a site called lindseycoleman.com.
LindseyColeman.com. Okay.
And I've created, with a nephew, we came up with a product called Easy Car Seat. And it's a little product that we got patented. He designed it, created it. I had it made in China, had it shipped over here. We did all of this from start to finish of conception in about 4 months.
Wow.
Of creating
Wow.
a product.
That's crazy.
And
Yeah.
it's called Easy Car Seat, but it helps people.
Easy car
It's
seat.
just a device about this long or about that wide, like the size of your belt. You, instead of reaching behind under the car seat about plugging it in, you just feed it through the device, slug it through and plug it in. It's a piece of cake. It makes it that easy.
Wow.
But then I've also got like other things, like a company called Lavelle that has a product called Thrive, and 2 different products of that. That's a network marketing company I do stuff
Awesome.
with. We've got
And you're doing some bikes, I saw.
yeah, we got some
Doing some e-bikes.
we just started selling some e-bikes.
Yeah, so if you need hey, the e-bikes are cool. I have a history with electric personal transportation vehicles, but looks like a great product. It really does.
The e-bikes are just going to be.
Yeah, I think
we got them quick and sold some real quick, and
That's awesome.
They're going to be great for everybody. If you just need, again, it even goes back to people like me that we ended up even buying a place in St. George because I could breathe easier because
Right.
of the elevations, and so I've actually figured out that I could get down there and even just ride a bike, and I could use it on the electric, but then I could do electric maybe for 3 minutes and then pedal for 3 minutes.
Right.
And back and forth and back and forth. And it's just a great idea. People just, if they're not this, if they want to exercise, if they want to use it just to get around town, and it's just taking the extra steps that we all just need to figure out what'll help us. But more important, I just want to help other people try alternative things. Listen to your doctors, but still do whatever your heart tells you.
So try alternative things. Never give up. I mean, there was never a point where you gave up. Don't take some time and not listen to what. I mean, obviously you have a diagnosis, but like your wife did, she did all the due diligence to find out what was going on. Question everything.
Yeah.
Sounds like question everything. Never give up, and
if I listen,
live life.
If I listened to the doctors currently from a year
Right.
ago, I would be able to be riding around in the scooter around my house. I'd be able to lay in bed. I would not be able to get up and walk. I would not be able to sit here without the machine.
Right. He walked out like it was nothing. I mean, he had his oxygen, but yeah. I mean, you're not. We walked out together. It wasn't like I had to wait for him. Yeah.
We still got the ramps in the backyard
Yeah.
from when I had the scooter, but
Yeah.
we aren't going to use them this year, so it's great.
Wow. Well, is there anything else you want to add? I know everybody at the end, they're always, I should have said this, or I should. Remember, you can always throw it on here. I'll put it on the website. You can always do an addendum to something, or you can write. Lindsey's on Facebook. You can see the spelling. It is Lindsey. Okay. And so that's the first name spelling. And you're on Facebook. You're probably on all kinds of things.
Yep.
Probably got your websites and all that. But man, I tell you what, every day.
If people just have questions, or if they have somebody that's into a coma, or that they're considering about or worried about, or
Right.
even different forms of cancer, just feel free to give me a call or look me up or give me a message. My phone number's on the Facebook. You can. I spend a lot of time just helping people and dealing with people and
Wow.
trying to help people with some of their problems.
I fall into these things all the time. I really appreciate you contacting me, I really appreciate you doing this. We'll do it again. I'd love to come out and do it again, because I think, you know, the more we follow up, the more we do things, people will see that, you know, there are a lot of people. That's what this show's all about. It's people helping people, people telling their stories in their own words, not me, and then putting it out there. If you need help or you need some kind of advice, we can help. We can all help each other so much, and I'm learning so much myself every day. I mean, the different types of things that knock people out, you know, but don't kill them. You know, it's amazing the motivation that's. I mean, I look at you. I mean, not knowing, I didn't know his story before I got here, and knowing you've had cancer, you've had the ARDS, you've had all this stuff, and you still continue to go on. You're a definite inspiration. He's definitely bowed, not broken, and that's what this show's all about. And I really appreciate it. Anything else you want to add to that? Yeah, any other motivation?
I'd just like to really just thank you for giving me the opportunity to share it. And if anybody, like I said, if anybody has questions, just look me up and get with me, and I'll love to spend some time with you or help with anybody that has questions.
That's nice. Thank you very much. Thanks everybody out there for watching, and we'll load this up on the website. We'll also have it on Facebook and all that kind of stuff. We'll be with you again tomorrow for another great show, but thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
And we'll get over there to turn that off. It's so scripted, and we have so many producers that we can just come over here and